Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and great news! Now that they've got MTG Arena, anybody can sit at home in their boxers while eating microwavable popcorn and qualify for some sort of large-scale prize or tournament, right? Technically, yes, but let's focus on the technically here. It's not quite as great as you think. I mean, most people would think, okay, there's like, what, between 100,000 and a million players of Arena in all likelihood? Might be multiple millions. The chances of getting to, the top 16 or whatever? Pretty darn low. Just, in general, pretty hard to do. But anyone who's moderately good at the game probably has in the back of their head, hey, it could happen though. Let's just give it a shot. Let's see how far I can get. Which is, my opinion, because I'm like, yeah, I'm okay at the game. Or, well, above average. And I'm like, holy crap, I actually cruised through gold and made it to platinum. Cool. So as it sits, there's just diamond above me, then mythic. That's it. Now if you're asking yourself, what do you mean diamond and what happened to master's tier? They changed it, I guess. So theoretically, I'm almost all the way there, except it is impossible to progress through platinum. The people are just too darn good. So is it just I hit my limit, or is it actually impossible to progress through platinum? Well, theoretically, someone has to make it to diamond or mythic. I mean, I guess not. If everybody, literally every last person, wins and loses 50% of the games, then nobody would progress. But I have a feeling just by random chance, variance, and luck, somebody made it to diamond and some people made it to mythic. But let's break down how realistic it actually is to make it to like high mythic. Or I'll even say mythic at all, because as soon as you get there, the rankings completely change to like a ladder system, and it's just completely different. It's more like a win-loss ratio, like a KDR kind of thing, the way I understand it. Or they just show you what your MMR number is, and that's your rank. So that works completely differently. So getting to the top of that is just win and don't lose. I mean, that's pretty simple. Which of course is exactly how you get through bronze, silver, and gold, but there's a difference here, and that's why I wanted to make this video. So to get through bronze, you just need to win, that's it, because I do believe it's every win is +2 little tick mark thingies, and then every loss is no penalty whatsoever. So if you're still in bronze, how is that possible? For silver, I believe if they haven't changed it, it's +2 for every win, -1 for every loss. So just don't lose more than twice as often as you win, which shouldn't be that hard. For gold, it's +1, -1. Simple. So you just have to win. Well, it would be 4, 4, 4, 4. So 16 more games than you lose. So depending upon the order, but the order mostly just eats up additional losses. If you have 56 wins and 40 losses, you will make it to platinum. Now, getting through gold was hard because, I mean, it's almost impossible for everybody who's serious about the game and has decent decks to not make it to gold. So gold is like the new starter who cares tier. But I got there so dang early that it was some good people. Pretty good decks, a lot of repetition, a lot of tier 1 stuff, and a lot of meta-breaking tier 1 killers, and that was it. But I did finally scrape my way to platinum. It's about damn time. And platinum is no freaking joke. I mean, people do not make mistakes. The decks are not gimmicky experimental stuff. It is 100% on par with, my decks and my play level. And honestly, that's the funny thing about this. This is why I always take a dump on paper magic and why the same people keep winning. In the average game where I'm paying attention and taking it seriously, I would say I make an average of 0 mistakes the entire game. Like actual play error mistakes. I would say the amount for my opponent is also 0. What decks are we running? Well, if I want to win, I've noticed I can only run one of 4 decks. So considering I built like 20 or 30 decks in Arena, it's my absolute top decks, and those decks are very highly competitive in the world right now. They're still extremely unique. I built them from scratch, but I've basically built every deck that can be built except for Black-White Vampires, and Merfolk, because I have some standards. Oh, and I haven't built Red Rush yet, but I've built, basically everything else. I haven't built Mill either, or Super Friends. Or Teferi Infinite Loop, so I've basically built everything but the toxic tier 1 decks. But my Black-Red deck is very difficult to beat. It's probably the most powerful deck I have right now, so your deck has to be top-notch. The players are top-notch. Nobody's going to make a mistake. Nobody's going to absolutely blow the game unless they, mull to 4 or draw nothing but lands, which happens. So between me and everybody else I talked to in Platinum League, they all said it, and I will agree. I have won as many games as I've lost. It's exactly 50-50. Well, how the hell am I going to progress even out of Platinum Tier 4 if everything's 50-50? You have to win more than you're going to lose. But everything's maxed. Player skill, decks, everything. So theoretically, it's a 50-50 matchup. And that's why the funny thing is in Platinum, you actually see a little tiny bit higher of a deck variety because people are trying things to be like, okay, everybody's playing these 3 top decks. These are tier 1. They copied them from the tournaments. What beats that? And they're running really good decks that are just really good against those decks. In gold, it was pretty much just tier 1 decks. That's it. It was a much lower variety. I saw people playing other stuff, but in platinum, it's probably 10 different decks that people are playing, and they're all really good. So what could let me get through platinum and into diamond, then through diamond into mythic? I mean, I'd say nothing, but then I sat down and thought about it seriously. What would it actually take? One, some sort of cheating, which is how the same people keep coming out ahead in Paper Magic, calling over the judge, screwing with your opponent's head, misrepresenting the board state, overdrawing something, hope they don't catch it, stacking cards, pulling one off your lap, mana weaving, sabotaging their shuffle, all this rules lawyering nonsense. You add all those tiny little advantages together and you end up with a 30% advantage over the person over the entire course of the tournament. So that's why the dirtiest, worst, most horrible players who win the game outside the game is how I would put it. They keep winning tournaments over and over and over. In Arena, none of that applies. So you can't just do all this little edge stuff like you would in poker, where it's mind games, it's bluffing, it's, screwing with your opponent, getting them a little bit off of focus. Can't do any of that in Arena. You just have to play the game, play your deck, and win, which is not going to happen. So let's say I'm playing a deck that has a 52% chance of winning, because honestly, if you look at the stats that they always do when they ban a card or don't ban a card, they'll release the stats saying, well, this has overall, with all of our tracking on all of MTGO, this deck has this chance against that deck. Overall, it wins 54% of the time, and trust me, anything above 55 is pretty damn rare. Now, after sideboarding, so game 2 and 3, or they always put it game 2+, some of them will rise to 78% win rate. I mean, the Scarab God deck, I think, was one of the ones where you could sideboard your way out of anything, because that deck had just one hell of an option sideboard. But in the very first match, I don't know if I've seen lower than 45, and I don't think I've seen higher than 55 very often at all. So to run a deck that's even 54% likely to win, okay, so that means for every, this isn't exactly how it works, but for every 100 games, you'll win 54 times and lose 46. So that's an 8-tick advantage, or steps as they call them. And I thought it was odd that I couldn't remember how many steps it takes to get through a level, but then I realized that in bronze it's 4, silver it's 5, gold it's 6, and platinum it's 7. I guess that's why I couldn't remember what it was. So okay, if I play 100 games with a 54% advantage deck and we both play perfectly and we both go first 50% of the time and everything else is equal, because that's what I'm saying, it probably is, I will have advanced one single individual tier plus 1. Wow. So you need 28 steps to get through platinum? Okay, so you'd have to play 350 games to get to diamond. That's a couple games. If you could play what I'd call just about the maximum, I mean, I guess it depends how much time you have, 30 games per day, that's still about 12 days. And assuming you go to school or have a job or something, it would almost be like every waking hour besides that. Depends on the speed of your deck, though. I mean, 30 games of Teferi Infinite Loop, no, that literally wouldn't even fit in 24 hours. But like a Red Rush Blitz deck, assuming that would have a 54% advantage, that's it. Now, what if it slips to 53 or 52, where the whole tier 1 meta competitive scene is actually pretty equal and pretty fair, which right now, it's a lot of rock, paper, scissors. It's hard to say, but I don't think there's really one standout deck where you're like, that is unbeatable. There's a couple decks where you're like, that is annoying as hell and it needs to go away. But unbeatable, I don't know. I've pretty much beaten everything at this point. And my deck has very particular weaknesses and very particular strengths. So if you had a 52% overall win ratio against other people, with, like I said, you playing perfectly, the draws going average, the go first rate going average, everything else is equal, then it would take 700 games and over a month at 30 games a day to qualify for just diamond, just to get through just platinum, not counting bronze, silver, and gold. Now in gold, I mean, I think I maybe played 70 games and got through it. So obviously my win ratio against the field, the people, the community in gold was really high. I'd probably say overall I won 75% of my games, and to get to platinum I actually won 8 in a row. I mean, if you win 8 in a row, it ain't exactly 53%, you know what I mean? There were some people making misplays, there were some bad decks, and that contributed to it. But like I said, Platinum ain't no joke. People are not playing in Platinum. So what would it take a perfect player who never makes a single mistake and is running some of the best decks in the entire world? What would it take? And the answer is just sheer brute force. There is no other way to get an advantage other than cheating somehow. And the only suspected cheating that there is one, the game cheating you by rigging your match. But I'm starting to think as of the new patch, it just rigs everybody equally. That whole taking deck strength out and redoing the ranking, I think it did something. I really do. There don't seem to be just cursed strings of games, with a couple exceptions, but we've all had FNMs like that. So it doesn't seem to have a agenda. It seems to just screw you over randomly, but with a lack of randomization. But it's not targeting you for a reason, it would seem. Or maybe it is, I wouldn't rule it out. But when prize money is on the line, boy, they damn well better not be rigging it, because that's actually illegal. Not giving everybody a fair fight when it comes to random number generation and purposely targeting people under certain circumstances to make them lose, that is against the law in America. I'm starting to wonder if that's why it feels like things changed a little bit, where it's not like, well, you hit 7 wins in the day, ha ha ha, mummy level curse. So let me just remind you, if you really like a deck and you're doing well with it, like my Simic Cloner deck, that deck's amazing, but I'm missing the Simic lands. I almost, like half the games, have to play an entire turn behind my opponent, and if they're playing a medium to high amount of removal and they know what to target, if they get rid of my Walkers and my Jade Lights, I'm dead. It is almost impossible for me to win the game at that point. So I would say that in Platinum, it probably has like a 48% chance of winning against the average deck. So that means that no matter how many games I play, I am going to go nowhere. I would have to pick one deck, make sure that it has a positive win chance. In general, yeah, I can lose against some stuff, but just in general, it would have to have above a 50% win rate. And then I just have to play enough games that couple little points of percentage actually manifest themselves as progressing. And you aren't going to jump a tier randomly because of variance and good luck, and have that actually be a factor, because you could just as easily get de-leveled from it, just not out of the entire color, just out of your tier. So you could go from 2 back down to 3, so the entire thing has no safety locations. Now, once you get to a new tier, I think you can lose like 3 games and they don't count, but it's non-progressive. You can't say, oh, statistically, I have now gotten a loss out of the way. No, once a result has been established, then all future events are not tied to it. It is a non-progressive randomization type of thing. Even though it isn't random, but it's pseudo-random, it's long story. Just take my word for it. So in other words, you have to get those 28 step-ups yourself and in a row, sort of. There's no checkpoints, there's no safety points, there's no bumpers on this bowling alley, sorry. And just because you got to a new tier then lost, that doesn't do anything for you. It's like, okay, cool, you didn't get de-leveled. Wonderful, it doesn't matter. From here going onward, it doesn't affect anything. You still have a 52, 53, 54% chance of winning, whatever it is. So the moral of the story is, if you were to try to qualify for Mythic and get to the top 16, or I don't remember, is it the top 16 people at the end of the season? Obviously not this one, it's a demo season. They get paid 75 grand to stream nonstop by Wizards, and then they get to attend a free tournament in paper or something like that. I don't know. I read the article and I still don't give enough of a crap to remember it. But if that's your goal, just keep in mind you're going to have to play thousands with an S of games, even to get through Platinum and Diamond. That's the only way to do it, other than cheating. And the only cheat I suspect that is in the game is remote viewing of your opponent's hand, because I feel like that information would be known to your client and they're just simply hiding it. So to spy on that information would be pretty easy. Even if it's encrypted during the transmission, it's probably not in memory. So if they find a way to scan and read that or something like that, theoretically, if the hack doesn't already exist, which I highly suspect that it does because of just some very unusual games where people were holding back when they have no business knowing that I had that card. And I don't just mean settle the wreckage. I mean, I was running some weird, obscure stuff where like people would have no idea what the deck does, and I run a card that nobody's ever seen, like Metamorphic, and like they purposely don't play a card that I bounce back to hand, and they just sit there and pass and do nothing. I'm like, well, obviously you somehow know what I'm going to do, and I didn't cast one of these yet. So could be a couple coincidences. It happened like 5 times. I don't know, but I feel like people are doing that, and being able to see your opponent's entire hand might add a couple percentage points to your win percentage, because you can make the perfect decision at all times. Well, and you can start getting away with stuff that wouldn't normally be safe, but you know what they have. You know if they have a counter for it. So, sparing that, there's no other way to progress really quickly. There's two. I wouldn't just leave you at, well, this is depressing. Get ready to play 3,000 games if you want to be Mythic, because that's mathematically the only way to get there. One, if they do it like a Grand Prix, they just do, it's 16 rounds, try to get to the top, 32 or whatever it is. It's so small and granular that you just have to win a couple times, and there you go. You don't have to win 1,000 times to beat everybody else who's playing 1,000 times. Like, to get to day 2, you just have to go, 7-1 or something? I really don't know how Pro Magic works. The problem with that is you slip up once and you're dead, whereas if you're playing 1,000 games, that 52 to 48% win-to-loss ratio, yeah, you're going to win a bit, or lose a lot, actually, a huge amount of the time, but it doesn't matter, you're progressing. So it's like the polar opposite, and the other problem with that is obviously it would almost have to be single elimination, because what if 100,000 people enter the tournament? It would have to be you lose, you're out, so you just have to win 16 straight. And I mean, you look at a lot of pros, they'll go to like round 12 and they'll be like 10-1. It's like, yeah, they lost one game, but they're still in it, because I mean, that's still a pretty damn good record. They would have to do it differently just to eliminate the sheer number of people that like 100,000 entries into a tournament would do. But they could do it that way just to shorten it. They really could. They could just be like, here's a run. But then like, what's this whole season thing and 1 month seasons and what tier you're in? Like, what would be the point? It would literally just be, let's hold a tournament and let anybody in regardless of skill level and rank. So I don't think they're going to do that. But then again, like, why wouldn't they do that? Like, I could totally see them doing that. But as far as your actual rank, which is what this video is about, you're just going to have to grind it. Or do you? There is a more realistic way to do it. The problem right now is you get to Gold League, everybody's pretty good. You get to Platinum League, and everybody's freaking amazing, if not perfect. Then it's just, okay, I gotta cling to this little 2, 3, 4% advantage and just ride that out by brute forcing my way through it. Well, the other option is just get to Gold and Platinum and Diamond so quick that the people there are not very good. Now, they're probably pretty good players, so let's just say player skill is still 100%. So 0 play errors are damn close to it on both sides, you and them, but right after a new set comes out, nobody knows what the hell to build. And it would almost have to be when a new set comes out and we lose 4 sets at the same time. Because right now, a new set comes out, people just keep playing the same tier 1 crap they're running right now, make a couple little tweaks to it, and oh, maybe a new deck might come along that's stronger or is a good match for it. Maybe. It's almost a long shot at that point. But when people are forced to eliminate their entire deck, basically, in all likelihood, because they just lost half of the cards that are in Standard, that's a completely different story. You can come up with something really good and just win. Like, if your deck is that good, like you found the deck that is perfect for crushing what's popular, what other people are playing at that time, you could just blitz through Platinum like it's not even there. So, in other words, the only way to absolutely just rush through Gold, Platinum, Diamond, and Mythic is to build such a good deck so early on that the decks you're going up against in Platinum aren't as good compared to your deck. Now, this late, I mean, we're looking at the release of the next set. It's been, however many weeks, months, whatever, since the release of Guilds of Ravnica. People have, like, the top 10 decks worked out. It's pretty much, I mean, with only 5 sets being legal especially, it's going to get solved. It is pretty darn established what decks are good enough and which ones aren't, and if you're not playing one of them, you just can't get through Platinum. I'm not one to be like, net deck or lose, but in this case, mathematically, it's net deck or lose. Although, would you really consider my 2 decks that I'm winning with net decks? I wouldn't. They're not very popular, but they're in the absolute top rank of power, and some other people win with these, and I've had some mirror matches. But my point is, right now at this point, can you go back to the drawing board and be like, what can I build that will compete on a high level in Platinum? No. Either you're going to accidentally build something that somebody else is already playing, or that's it. That's the only option, because there's no undiscovered deck that's tier 1 at this point with 10 million players all building decks for the last couple months? I'm pretty sure every deck that possibly could be built has been built and tested, and we've seen them and everybody's copied each other and everything's already established. But after the next rotation, it will be really damn easy for the best deck builders in the world, who are also really good players, and read the cards and know how they work and don't make play errors, because everybody makes play errors in the first week after something comes out. The cards are brand new. But assuming you can avoid that and get a good deck together, that is who is going to make it to Diamond League really quickly. We're talking the express elevator. So I think I'm just going to play the hell out of the game after the next release. I'm going to have a deck pre-built as soon as, what do you call it? Like spoiler season is done. But we've got, what, like 3/4 of a year before that happens. So, you know, don't hold your breath. I'm just saying that is a way to do it if that's your goal. That is the fast track. So hopefully that's a bit of a silver lining to you. I know it's just downright depressing if you had your heart set on Mythic League. Right now, personally, as much as it sounds bad, I don't care. I've given up on rank completely. I know I'm not going to make it to Diamond. I'm not willing to put in the amount of effort in games it would take. So I'm just going in Platinum, going up against really, really tough people, tough players at the same skill level as me with some tough decks and, you know, winning and losing half the time, which is kind of entertaining. I mean, absolute blowouts against people who are constantly making mistakes. It's just cringy and it's kind of annoying. I mean, it's not all about winning. It's about playing a proper game of Magic and seeing what beats what without the human factor in it. I like that level of play, personally. Now, when I was going through Gold, I knew I could make it to Platinum, so it was getting really aggravating, very not fun a large percentage of the time, because I'm just like, oh my god, I just want to progress. Why the hell am I playing this deck again? Why did I lose again? Oh, I lost to bad draws again. This sucks. I shouldn't be doing this. And everything was in the context of, if I'm not progressing, I'm not having fun because I want to progress. I'm here to progress and I want to get a win. As soon as I landed in Platinum, I'm like, okay. I mean, it was almost a long shot to get Platinum, but I assumed I'd get there eventually because I was in Gold Tier 1 a couple times. Now I'm just like, I've accepted it. I'm not making it to Diamond. I'm not going to proceed any further. Let's just play Magic. I don't even care anymore. And it's like way more fun, which you wouldn't think Platinum League would be more fun, but it is because I stopped caring. That's right. The Platinum tier is the new Who Cares Casual League, apparently. So my advice, once you got into the tier that you think you're going to get to with your current deck and card pool and skill level, just accept it. Just be okay with it and just play the game for fun. Just do the daily missions, play against your friends, challenge people, you know, whatever. Do the weekly little silly weird side tasks and just enjoy Arena. You know, it doesn't always have to be about, I got to be the best, I need to get to the top rank. I mean, I'm not even kidding. That is the reason I quit StarCraft 2, is because it became very not fun as soon as I was in the top leagues. I was like, I'm not even enjoying this. Screw this. I'm going to go play a completely different game. I'm going to go play Oblivion while watching Netflix. And then I actually had fun and haven't returned since. So that's my advice for both if you do want to get serious and make it to Mythic League, or if you don't, which I would encourage. So if you enjoyed these words of wisdom, leave a big ol' like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe, because I'm trying to make it to 40,000 before the end of the year. It's not going to happen. I forgot to mention it for the last couple of weeks. We've got like 5 days left. It's not going to happen. But I did have my entire channel and Discord server totally raid the crap out of Jason Ergo's live stream that he was doing with his family. And he kind of jokingly said, because there was like 52 people watching, that if they get to 100 likes, he will do the Fortnite flaw stance, aka the one stolen from Backpack Kid, live on camera. And I'm like, the owner of socialblade.com, the #1 best statistics website for YouTube, not sponsored, I just like them. He will do a Fortnite dance that his twin kids are going to teach him to do. And all I have to do is get my entire channel to raid the crap out of the stream. Well, guess what you guys did? You raided the crap out of the stream and it got to like 120 likes. And that was pretty entertaining because he had to do it. I thought for sure he would trip and just go straight through the glass doors behind him. So shout out to Jason's family and Jason specifically. And big ol' thank you to everybody who participated in that particular stream raid. It was pretty darn funny. So anyway, at least we got that accomplishment done, because I sure as hell like getting to 40. But I'll see you guys next video.